Hello, my name is Sam Catanzaro. I'm the editor of the Santa Monica Mirror newspaper. I am joined today by Ann Slack. She is running for a seat on Santa Monica City Council. Ann, thanks for your time. To begin with, do you want to just give us a brief info about yourself?
Sure. I've lived in Santa Monica for almost 8 years now, and I lived in Mar Vista, so I was adjacent for about 15 years, raised my family pretty much going to Santa Monica parks and Santa Monica businesses their whole lives. I have two daughters, one's 20, one's 16. One is going to SMC, the other one is at Samo High, and we're looking at colleges now. And I had a business for 2000, 2010. For 2 of those years, it was in Santa Monica. And so I know what it's like to be a business owner in Santa Monica. I also have worked for several companies in Santa Monica since 2010. I currently work part-time as a barista at Starbucks in Santa Monica, as well as I run a nonprofit organization full-time. And I just felt compelled to run for city council mainly because of what I saw happen from COVID, but also what I saw happen with the protests on May 31st and our city's response. And moreover, just what I have seen from residents as far as they are feeling scared, they're feeling overrun in ways, and I think they feel like they've been let down or neglected.
And specifically, what would you say the biggest issue facing Santa Monica is right now? And if elected, how would you go about addressing that issue?
Our biggest issue right now is the economy, plain and simple. We have been hit already because we were at a deficit prior to COVID, but what COVID has definitely revealed to us is that we were not set up in a way that could handle such a hit of lack of tourism, of lack of businesses being open, of restaurants being indoors, of the money that was poured into development of huge office campuses, because no one's in those office campuses now. And so we're losing out on money that would have gone to restaurants in the area, that would have gone to parking, that goes to the city, every component of it. And on top of it, it's also directly related to the housing development that they've invested in for over numerous years, which is not necessarily affordable, but it was something that would have fed, it was a symbiotic relationship of having these campuses with new employees living near where they work. And those places are empty now too, because a lot of people have been moving out of the city because they're working from home, and why pay more money if you don't have to?
And so go on.
I was just going to say, so for me, the economy is the number one issue to tackle, because we actually can, just with our own residents and our own support system, if we manage it right, we can fix those things that are not feeding into it right now. We can try and recover just from within our own resources.
And specifically, if you are elected, what steps would you want to take to address the economy?
One, I would definitely want to create a task force that was specifically for our local businesses. One of the things I've heard routinely, especially from the restaurants in Santa Monica, is that there were a lot of prohibitive measures, and this isn't necessarily the fault of the council, but it's just the system that we exist within. They didn't change the system to allow for restaurants to react to what was necessary to operate. So, for instance, they were requiring certain permits just to even have table seating outside, and they were making them pay for that. And why we would make any businesses pay for anything just to be able to operate, to sustain through this pandemic, I don't understand that. I think it's taking money from the wrong place at the wrong time. But I think what it mainly revealed is that we have a bureaucratic system that could not act nimbly, could not adapt to the time and the speed in which it needed to be. So another thing that I heard from a lot of restaurant owners, as well as like the sort of small business antiquity type of people was that they just had no idea of what resources were available to them, even from the federal government. Some of them were intimidated by the paperwork. Some of them, if they were immigrants or foreign, they didn't think that they were entitled because they weren't from the U.S., so to say, or there was a pride issue, or like there was numerous responses that I received from why people didn't actually apply for PPP or, uh, know the timetables of when to apply for things. And I think that this city owes it to these people who are paying the taxes and who are helping to build our economy, owes it to them to go, look, let us help you find the resources and let us make sure that you're getting what you need. So we really needed to be going, I think, business to business and talking to them, and that's what I want to do. The other aspect is that I feel that we really have to tackle our affordable housing and in multiple ways, because we are trying to deal with homelessness, which is the first response from every resident. They're all concerned about what's going on with the homelessness issue. And the fact is it's going to get worse. We're approaching that moratorium end date where we're going to see a lot of evictions happening. It's going to be bad. And, what we need to do is look at, okay, what available housing do we have right now? What is open? Any type of unit anywhere, is it open? Let's put it under the affordable housing rate setup, and let's get people into those places right away. If we have empty office buildings, which we have tons, can we do any temporary zoning restrictions that allow for us to create almost like dorm style housing to be another entry level for existing residents, such as like college students that are, waiting for school to start back up again, or just the minimum wage worker that lives in Santa Monica. We can take some of these office buildings and have that central, sort of kitchen, living room setup and take these offices and convert them into bedrooms. But it does take the whole city working together on something like that. And for the businesses, we need to protect them with basically saying no rent increases on any businesses for the next 2 or 3 years, because we have to stabilize.
Well, Anne, thank you so much for your time. I think that was very enlightening. How could you find out more about you if people want to find out more about your platform?
If you go to voteandslack.com, that has lots of information about me and what I would like to do if I'm elected.
Well, everybody, thanks for watching and stay tuned for some more candidate interviews.